Hello and welcome to ICI Podcasts. Today we will be discussing Revelation 10. Last week we discussed Revelation 9, and it was over the fifth and the sixth trumpets. And there was a little bit more I wanted to discuss about that, just an observation. So we discussed last week, and first, quick of all, new language, but if you're watching live and you have any comments or questions, you can go ahead and post them and I'll try my best to answer them. But again, back to Revelation 9 that we discussed last week about the fifth and sixth trumpets, we discussed that the locust hordes that we talked about were the spread of Islam taking over Christian territory. Well, that observation that I'm talking about, that if anybody's been paying attention, that spread has not stopped. It has continued. A little bit more now on the down low, and actually in the not too distant past, it's not so much on the down low anymore. It's becoming more and more, you're seeing it more prevalent. They're in your face about it, with wanting to do their praying in the middle of the streets, having their prayer calls, obnoxiously all the time so that everybody can hear them. But that, again, you're seeing that London has been taken over, like there's 1,800 new mosques in London. The UK has just been overspread by Islam, even into Ireland. Of course, in the US, you see the spread of Islam through the US. 50 just since 2023, there has been 50 new mosques in kind of around the surrounding Dallas area, even a new city in Plano called Epic City because of the brouhaha. They changed the name, but nothing else, to like the Meadow or Meadows or something like that, where they even have their own police force, their own government, trying to set up their own government, their own Sharia law, that kind of thing. It has not gone away. It is still spreading across the nations of this locust horde. So don't think that has stopped, because it has not. They're still doing the same thing. It's still the same playbook. The game has not changed. So just an observation that I wanted to make from the fifth and the sixth trumpets. So now let's jump into Revelation 10. Revelation 10 is going to be discussing depending on what translation you're reading, it's called the little small scroll or the little book. But it brings in, Revelation 10 is an explanation to the prophecy that had been sealed in Daniel, and it's talked about in Daniel 8, Daniel 12, and we'll also be bringing in Daniel 9 as well. But it's been sealed, the prophecy had been sealed up until the end. Well, that end is come to fruition in Daniel 10. And so it's pulling that into Daniel 10, and we're going to discuss that now. And what I'll do is I'll just read through those verses and commentate as I go along. So let's just dive right in here. So then I saw another mighty angel coming down from heaven, surrounded by a cloud with a rainbow over his head. His face shone like the sun, and his feet were like pillars of fire. And in his hand was a small scroll, or a little book, like I said, depending on translations, that had been opened. And so now it's unsealed. This book has been now unsealed. You see where we had unsealed the book in the entire scroll anyway, in the previous Revelation chapters. And he stood with his right foot on the sea and his left foot on the land. This is symbolizing a worldwide message. It's a message for the whole earth. And he gave a great shout like the roar of a lion. And when he shouted, the seven thunders answered. And this person that they're talking about here, this angel, more than likely is Jesus, symbolizing his face shining like a sun. You'll see this description in Revelation 1. Also in Revelation 5, where they're talking about when he opens the scroll, he's called the Lion of Judah, and his feet like burnished bronze. So it's most likely this angel is most likely Jesus himself. And when the seventh thunder spoke, the voice of God, more than likely, God and thunder is often mentioned together. But I heard a voice from heaven saying, "Keep secret what the seventh thunder said and do not write it down." Then the angel I saw standing on the sea and on the land raised his right hand towards heaven, and he swore with an oath in the name of the one who lives forever and ever, who created the heavens and everything in them, the earth and everything in it, and the sea and everything in it. He said, "There will be no more delay." Now we're going to see this same angel. You'll see that it's the same exact thing is occurring in Daniel 8 when he is told about this prophecy that needed to be sealed. And we'll be talking about that in a second. And when the seventh angel blows his trumpet, God's mysterious plan will be fulfilled. It will happen just as he announced to his servants, the prophets. Okay, again, we find this explanation for this little book or this small scroll in Daniel. Okay, so let's jump to these verses. Daniel 8:14 says, "And he said to me, for 2,300 evenings and mornings, then the sanctuary would be cleansed and properly restored." So he came near where I was standing, and when he came, I was frightened and fell down face downward. But he said to me, "Understand, son of man, that the fulfillment of the vision that pertains to these events will occur in the time of the end," which is, we already talked about just a few verses earlier in Revelation 10. Then there will be no more delay in time. So this is the same time that they're talking about. So the vision of the evening and the morning, which had been told to you, is true, but keep the vision a secret. It's talking to Daniel here, this angel, for it has to do with many days that are going to be in the distant future at the end of this 2,300 days or years, prophetic years, when the cleansing of the sanctuary takes place. So you can see this clear and unmistakable connection between Daniel 12 and Revelation 10. "But you, Daniel, shut up the words." This is Daniel 12:4 now. "Shut up the words and seal the book until the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and the knowledge shall increase." And one said to the man clothed in linen, who was above the waters of the river, "How long shall the fulfillment of these wonders be?" Then I heard the man clothed in linen, who was above the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand. This is the same angel that we talked about in verses 5 and 6 in Revelation. "And his left hand to heaven, and swore to him who lives forever and ever. And he said, 'Go your way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed to the time of the end.'" Okay, which are now unsealed in Revelation 10. Okay, so back to Revelation 10:8. "Then the voice from heaven spoke to me again. 'Go and take the open scroll from the hand of the angel who's standing on the sea and on the land.' So John went to the angel and told him, 'Give me the small scroll.' And he took it and he ate it, meaning to meditate on the word, study the word. And he said, 'It will be sweet as honey in your mouth, but it will turn sour in your stomach,' or bitter." So John took the small scroll from the hand of the angel and he ate it. And it was sweet in his mouth, but when he swallowed it, it turned sour in his stomach. Then I was told, "You must prophesy again about many people, nations, languages, and kings." Okay, so what this is referring to is this 2,300 days, all right? So back in the early to mid 1800s, there were many people across several denominations and in several countries actually studying this prophecy in Daniel. So now I'm going to go back and jump into Daniel 9, which details these 2,300 years. Okay, so let's read about how this 2,300 year time progresses. So it's pinpointed in Daniel 9, 24 through 27, that the 2,300 years began from the command to rebuild Jerusalem in 457 BC. According to the prophecy, 69 weeks or 483 years later, the Messiah would be anointed, which happened around 27 AD when Jesus was baptized. Then half a year later, or 3.5 prophetic years later, the Messiah would be cut off, which, what do you think that was? that was when he was cut off at the cross. So that happened at the cross, 31 AD. Then another half a week later, which is 3.5 years later, would end the 70 weeks, which now we're at 490 years total, that were decreed for Israel, at which time the gospel would go to the Gentiles as well. So the remaining 1810 years would end at 1844, which makes that year the beginning of the time of the end, which the time delay would be no more, is how Revelation puts it. And beginning of the time of the end is how Daniel puts it. So this group of people misinterpreted what it meant by the cleansing of the sanctuary, which was actually the beginning of the time of the end, where there would be no more delay, which I just said. And what they thought it meant is that Jesus was returning. And that actual date that they thought it was October 22, 1844. Hence, sweet as honey, they're excited about Jesus coming. And, they wait until the very end of that day, midnight, and he doesn't come. And so this excitement turns to bitterness in their stomach. And when that happened, many of these people actually just turned away from God completely. Atheists now, so because they had it wrong completely. But then there were others of these groups that split off and just continued, to study and just to continue to spread the good news of the gospel or the mystery of God, teaching about him and his word. So also the same thing would have been happened for John, because it said, John hears the angel tell him there'll be no more delay. The mystery of God is finished. So he's thinking, mystery of God is finished. No more delay. Time of the end. He eats the scroll with joy, expecting more than likely, oh, good, this is going to be his return. And yet he discovers the bitterness in his stomach instead. And because then he's told that there's still a time period where you must continue to prophesy to many people, nations, languages, and kings. So that is the interpretation of Revelation 10, the little scroll. That's actually that prophecy of the 2300 days, the cleansing of the sanctuary that happened in 1844. So that is Revelation 10 for you. Next week will be Christmas week. I will not be doing a live on Friday, but I will the following week after that, on Friday around 11-ish. And so I hope you guys have a great Merry Christmas, and I will see you again that following week.